Hello and welcome to the New Food Hub. I'm Gemma Tadman, ProVeg Business Communications Manager, and I'm joined today by Shiv Sivakumar, co-founder and co-CEO of Omni, the plant-based pet food company. Only 3 years ago, in 2021, Omni was born as a ProVeg incubator startup, seeking to make healthy, delicious plant-based dog food. Since then, you guys have been pretty busy, to say the least. They boast the UK's first and only vet formulated and peer-reviewed dog food, and now offer a range of dry and wet food products, including a range of functional treats and I think quite newly launched supplements as well, which is really exciting. The products are now available also in Western Europe and more promised for 2024. And notably, they plan to launch the world's first cultivated, nutritionally complete meat-based pet food this year. So very excited to talk a little bit about that later. To talk about the journey from ProVeg incubator startup to leader in the vegan pet food market, Shiv is here to talk us through all of the details. So let's kick it off. Let's start first with the start. Let's talk about the origins of Omni, Shiv. So you started the company with your co-founder and vet, Dr. Guy. What drew you both to starting the plant-based pet food company in the first place?
Cool. Great to be on, Gemma. Thanks for having me on. What really started was from my co-founder's perspective. So Dr. Guy is a veterinarian. He's been in the clinic for over 10 years. And essentially, he was seeing a lot of health problems in pets, whether it was down to allergy cases, around itching in the skin, or gut cases, all rampant rising levels of cancers and obesity. And there was this disconnect between the sort of nutrition and sort of what was happening in the clinic. And essentially, we sought to look at this from the perspective of what we're actually feeding our pets and the relationship between that and the health outcomes that we're seeing in them. At the same time, my background was in corporate finance, and there's a huge movement towards health-first propositions, better for you products in the human space. And naturally, these are all trends that filter through into the pet category as awareness grows. And if you look at the traditional pet food industry, which is largely controlled by two big sort of conglomerates, it's mainly highly processed byproducts of the animal food system, whether it's chicken or beef, that's repurposed into thousands of different brands. And those are what's essentially connected to the health outcomes that we're seeing in pets as well. So we thought, let's do something totally different. Let's look at novel protein solutions, whether they be plant-based, algae, yeast-based, cultivated meat. And let's try and figure out health-first solutions for pets that can improve health outcomes, but of course rooted in values around sustainability as well, because the future of pet food and the future of food has to be more sustainable than what it is now.
That's amazing. Thank you for giving us that background. So what sets you apart from other players in the field then?
So I think some of the key differentiations for us compared to others who have gone down alternative protein diets is our very core focus on health outcomes. So for instance, we have peer-reviewed publication on the health benefits of dogs that have been on the Omni diet in terms of improvements in allergy cases, improvements in gut-related issues, even some behavioral issues as well. So we're really, really focused on improving health outcomes through novel protein solutions. Of course, others in the market may go about it through plant-based purposes or vegan purposes. Of course, those are fundamentally an aspect of our business as well, but we're here to create better health outcomes. And we're differentiated by the fact that we have a vet founder, all of our products are vet formulated, and we have sort of a great veterinary ambassador network as well, who are out there talking about our products. And it's really a product that's really growing in popularity, even in a clinical sort of setting as well. So that's what really sets us apart.
And it's definitely something to be really proud of as well. At ProVeg, we're pretty proud of our incubator program. What role did the incubator play in getting Omni off the ground?
I'd say it was pretty integral, especially at that very, very early starting point where we had absolutely no capital and we just had this idea. And I remember like talking to the ProVeg team and them being so sort of supportive and sort of that encouragement, in addition to sort of financial assistance as well, just to get some of our first initial products out there. I mean, can go as far as to say that if we didn't have that support, who knows what direction things could have gone down, or whether we could have even carried on past that point. So I feel like they serve such a really important, play such an important role in the ecosystem when it comes to startups in the alternative protein, novel protein solutions for pets and humans.
So since then, you've launched, as we mentioned at the start, more than just dry products, dry food products in the last couple of years. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of these products that you've put on the market?
Sure. So the majority of our sales to date have actually been focused on dry food. But one thing that we realized was that there's a huge consumer base out there who want more than just that. They're really interested in tapping into novel protein solutions from treat perspectives, or taste toppers, or wet food, and supplements as well. So we can tap into a much larger consumer base by offering these products to our consumers. This is something we notice in the market. And it really ties into sort of our positioning as a vet-founded business by now our recently launched sort of supplement line, which is targets sort of joint issues, anxiety issues, stool issues, home cooking. A lot of people do home cooking, but it's very hard to get that nutritional balance right. So we are creating supplements really catered to that, all of course rooted in plant-based novel protein solutions as well, but we can do it in a way that's rooted in sort of veterinary science and credibility.
You've also had some pretty impressive fundraising efforts. At the start of last year, you reached an impressive 400,000 crowdfunding target in just 15 minutes, which is mad. Do you think this method of fundraising is a good option for alt protein startups?
It worked out really well for us. And I think some of the reasons why it did was we've managed to cultivate a community that's really bought into what we're doing. And the timing was so critical as well. I think if we went right at the beginning of Omni, we probably wouldn't have done so well because nobody really knew about us and we didn't have that community base. I think it's a great platform to go on once you've started to build a community of early customers who are really engaged with what you're doing. And they want to do more than just engage with you by purchasing a product. They want to ride on that sort of success story because they're backing you from an early stage. I think that could be a great way for consumer-facing all protein businesses to really tap into a funding channel that's otherwise not available.
Yeah. And aside from the great fundraising effort that you've had, what are some of the other proudest moments that you guys have had so far at Omni?
Yeah, there's been quite a few. I'd say the publication of the peer-reviewed paper that really validated, brought credibility to an idea that we thought that there would be positive health outcomes. It's always good to get things like that solidified through a credible network of sort of industry sort of scientific peers. So that was a huge moment for us. The other is sort of just this year, 2023 was quite a challenging year, but we as a business managed to grow over 100% into 7-figure sales. I think it's, again, validating that, yes, there's health benefits, but also there is a consumer pull for what we're doing as well. People want to give their dogs a healthier diet. And the messaging that we're putting out there, people are seeing these health benefits. They're telling their friends about it. That's why we were able to grow, even despite a lot of pressures on the consumer market as a whole. So that was a great moment. And anytime people talk about the health benefits that they've seen in their dogs, or when veterinarians say, oh, I'm going to start recommending this to my patients, that's always a key moment for me and Guy to be proud of.
My dog loves your anxiety treats. They've definitely helped him. So there you go. There's another one.
Fantastic.
Moving on to some of the challenges now, because obviously there are challenges in starting startups and also in the economy, investors. What are some of the main challenges that you faced as a company to date?
I think it's a great question. I think especially relevant now in terms of the place where the world is. It's so different to even 2 years ago. I think there are macro changes that affect everybody, such as interest rates rising, the VC market being not as sort of liquid as it used to be. That affects all startups. And of course, we're not immune to that either. So that's a challenge that everybody has to overcome. And then specific to sort of the subsector around novel proteins and the association with alternative proteins, and sort of what's going on in the human space with sort of a little bit of a recorrection that may be happening in that space. It's something that's sort of we're being tarnished by sort of potentially what's happening in that space too. And it's a little unfair in the sense that Omni is doing so well as a business and it's growing and it's a very health-led proposition that is creating positive change and building a very loyal customer base. So trying to communicate that we are doing so well and business has really sort of a long way to go. So those are some challenges which sort of contribute to the sort of fundraising efforts as all startups face. But at the same time, I feel like that's an environment that won't stay around for long. It will improve. And if anything, proving out your concept in a market like this is one of the biggest validators for the fact that you have long-term success when the market eventually recovers, because it always does. So it's just a matter of weathering this and showing that you can make it in even the most toughest of markets. And we even saw that in the last recession. Some of the biggest companies that came out of the 2008 financial crisis went on to have huge successes, whether it's your Airbnbs of the world or your Ubers of the world. So these are testing times, but it's also a great time to validate your concept.
That's a really great outlook. I love that. So what about your interactions with customers and consumers, really? I mean, the research demonstrating the health and environmental benefits of plant-based dog food and pet food as a whole is quite new. And many people still think that meat is normal and natural and a necessary part of their companion animals' diet. Is it a challenge to convince consumers at all to try out your products or get their animals to try your products?
A great question. I think switching anybody over to another brand of pet food is a challenge, because one of the great things about pet food is the loyalty that's built in once you find something that really works for you. I think what's sort of to our advantage is that Omni is disrupting a market that has a lot of inherent problems with it, whether it be the labeling of traditional meat-based pet food, the mystery around what actually goes into it, a lot of suspicion there, a lot of health problems that exist in the market already. So we offer something truly innovative and truly differentiated, backed by very credible professionals in the market. So that's what's lended us the ability to acquire customers relatively cheaply. So our marketing budget is a tiny fraction, a drop in the ocean compared to the amount of sales that we've been able to generate. And that's because of the fact that we don't have to work so hard to get certain messagings around health or longevity across, because there is research coming out to support this. And there is also a network effect as well, in terms of, as we, of course, we have to spend some money in marketing, but for every sort of dollar that we spend, we have this network effect of people who go on and tell more people about this novel solution, and they see the health benefits in their dogs and they tell other people about it. So they are our biggest ambassadors, because our customers tell other people and bring in more people to the Omni sort of journey. So that's how we've been able to sort of grow. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And what about the plant-based pet food industry more broadly? What do you think are the major bottlenecks or challenges that the industry needs to address in order to scale up and make a significant dent in the demand for conventional meat-based pet food?
Yeah, I think that's something so critical right now to start thinking about. And I think this is something that we at Omni have always been conscious of as well, because at the end of the day, the consumer is so focused on what they want. Like the consumer, of course, everybody has an awareness about sort of the climate impact and the need for switching. I think there is a growing acknowledgement of that. But in order for people to make those purchase decisions, they're inherently driven by factors such as taste or health. And this is something we focus at day one at Omni. So we ensure that the food that we were putting out there was tastier than the existing offerings on the market, but also competing with the meat-based brand as well. I mean, we have a consumer, which is the parent, but also the dog. And if the dog doesn't like the taste, there's no convincing the dog otherwise. So it's quite a tough consumer. Yeah. So we always had that pressure to make sure that the taste was great. And it is, which is why sort of people keep coming back all this time. And then the other factor is health, because it's such a great way to cut through, because the livestock farm industry, the processed meat industry, there are negative health consequences to that. And especially in the human space, I think having long ingredient lists, which is what some of the innovations are focused on, that takes away from the health aspects of things. So I think that's where sort of innovating from a health-led proposition and a taste-led proposition, and of course, price also being quite an important factor as well. Those three are something that new startups in this market really need to address. And if they do it, there is still huge opportunity for success here. We know what needs to be done. It's just a matter of innovating by focusing on those problem areas. And I still think huge opportunities can be made in the human plant-based or protein space.
Definitely, 100%. Let's look to the future now. We know that you have a pretty big product launch that's set to be a world first. What can you tell us about your move into the cultivated pet food space?
This has been on the cards for a long time for us. We've always, our focus has been on novel protein solutions. So it's not that we hate meat or that we're anti-meat or anything like that. We just think that it's quite an efficient method of delivering nutrition, of course, but the way that meat is consumed through livestock farming is just not sustainable. It's hugely exploitative and it's not healthy. So our exploration into cultivated meat is addressing all of those things by creating healthier meat, essentially, and being able to do that in a way that can scale up and bring sort of change to this industry, because that is a product that can fundamentally change the landscape, because it really taps into what people are already doing, but it can be done in a way that's cleaner, healthier, more sustainable. So what I can say about that is that it's a very exciting innovation. It's in collaboration with sort of an innovation that Omni has made in-house and also with a partner. And we're very excited to be able to bring this to market. And we think it's going to be pretty huge.
So excited to see what the next few years bring ahead for you guys. Then what's next for Omni more broadly? What can we expect from you in 2024? What can you tell us a little bit more about?
I think for 2024, the key focus is on these new products that we have to continue to sort of win market share in all of these areas, to really take our health-led, taste-led propositions and to really keep solidifying our positioning as the science brand, as the vet brand, and to sort of get that message to as many people as we can. We've run this for about 2 years now, so we know that there's a huge market potential, there's a huge network potential, and there are huge opportunities, not just in the UK, but also in Europe as well. And it's a big year for us. So yeah, we're quite ambitious about how far we want to go this year.
Exciting. And finally, we know that you have a dog of your own who must be very well fed on your food. What do you think is your dog's favorite Omni product?
I think his favorite is got to be the stress and anxiety supplement. My dog's favorite too. I'm not sure it comes on here. He's just, I think he had us talking about him, that he just came to say. Leo, he's in the cockapoo. He's been on Omni for quite a while, and now he's been on with supplements as well.
Oh, bless. Is he the star behind the background on your camera?
It's very similar, isn't it?
It looks very similar. Oh, bless him. Oh, well, thank you, Shiv, so much for talking to the New Food Hub today. And thank you everyone at home for watching. For more alt protein insights, please head to the New Food Hub and follow us on LinkedIn. And make sure you keep your eyes peeled for all the innovations that Omni will be bringing out in the next year and in the years ahead.